Hi, I'm Rappler Entertainment Editor Marguerite De Leon, and welcome to the latest episode of Rappler Talk Entertainment. Today we have none other than Miss International third runner-up, Nicole Borromeo.
Yay! Thank you, Miss Marge. I'm so happy to be here. I love your office. I love the
Thank
color.
you. Thank
and
you
I can't
so
wait to
much.
write on that wall back there.
Yay, okay. But before we get to your wall writing experience,
My wall writing.
let's get a few questions in.
Go.
So it's been a couple of weeks since the pageant in Tokyo. Congratulations. First off, is there anything you miss about Japan? Like, is there anything in Japanese culture that you miss?
How everything from the moment you land, like the weather is really nice, and I mean we also arrived early October too, so
Right.
it's not too cold, not too hot. It's the perfect
Just
time to
right.
be in Japan. It was autumn, and the leaves were beautiful. Even the transportation, like when you go around the country, everything is so accessible, especially by train. Lots of places to see. Food, my goodness. I told you this before the interview, but
Yeah.
the sashimi, the sushi, everything is so fresh, and you feel healthier too. There's something about their rice that I just completely fall in love with. And the fact that the culture is so rich there. And since I was there to compete, they really prioritized us experiencing the culture for ourselves.
That's
We
great.
had the tea ceremony, the wagashi making,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
one of my favorites. Yeah, they're like the little
Little
Japanese
sweets.
confectionaries. I was really proud of the one I made. We even got to visit the schools.
Oh,
So,
cool.
we saw the little kids. We got to sing and dance with them. Also, the high school students. We had meals with them. We had time to even talk with them, like conversations, and they would practice their English on us. It's such a rich experience that I want to go back.
That's
And I
awesome.
want the world to experience it too.
That's awesome. Is there anything in particular in Japanese culture that you wish Filipinos could adapt here in the country?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I've said it before in my other interviews, but it's the respect for what we have around us.
Right.
It's in Japan, they're really big on like Shintoism. I don't know a lot about the details of it, but the gist that I'm learning from it is you are a part of this world, right? And everything around you has energy, and the fact you take care of it, the fact you show respect, and you make it a part of your daily life.
Yeah.
It's understanding that you're not above the world,
Yeah.
right? Because we tend to have this habit of like throwing our trash badly, polluting.
Taking things for granted.
But the truth is, what you do has a ripple effect. And
Right.
with them, they're so mindful of not only the way they treat other people, but how they treat the world around them. And that's something that we could learn.
That's great. Okay, so now that you're back in the Philippines, how have the past few weeks been? Like, we're sure it's been super busy with like interviews and guestings.
I'm really grateful for it, honestly. Like the moment I landed, I was so surprised that someone from GMA was there to interview me, and it felt, wow, it's good to be received by people who wanted to know how the experience
of course,
was.
yeah.
That because I stayed a few extra days in Japan, so I thought that I'd be landing and I would be alone, but that was not the case. And I was told that the people were so proud of how I
Yeah.
did, and I didn't expect it to be so well, like to be so well received, to be so warm. Everyone was so happy to see me, and I was happy to see them. So
Yeah, like the
It was
Rappler
great.
staff was covering your pageant
Yeah?
here in the office, and we were watching from the screen.
You were
And-
watching
yeah,
it?
of course. And we were like cheering the whole time, like
Oh,
every step of
thank
the way,
you.
every new
Thank
level that
you.
you reached, like we would be like screaming our heads off. So yeah,
you were screaming out here.
oh yeah. of
I wonder
course.
where you
We
watched
scream a
it.
lot here. Okay, so a lot of people thought that you got the hardest question
Yeah.
in the Q&A round about what you've done so far in terms of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And you answered it really well. Like, I
Thank
personally
you.
was so impressed and I was so happy. Like, yay, panalo na. So how did you feel the second you heard the question when you were on stage?
Well, given that it's Miss International, they're an organization that really prioritizes these things. That and I think that's a really beautiful aspect to it, because when you think of pageantry, syempre, you think beauty, you think dresses, you think on the stage, just smile and wave,
Yeah.
and that's it. But having the SDGs being highlighted in the pageant, it goes to show that there's more than just looking pretty. There's more to it than the superficial. It's the social impact. And with Miss International, we actually get to create videos and show the world what it is that we stand for. And getting that question meant that I got the chance to talk about what I'm passionate about,
Yeah.
what I think we could use more of in this world. So given the way that the Philippines is built,
Yeah.
we are not as disaster resilient as we could be.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and organizations like Habitat for Humanity actually focuses on helping people who can't afford it, who are homeless. And I believe that when we put people out of poverty that way, it's very tangible and very real, that like when you have a home, you can feel safe, you can feel secure. When you don't have one, how could you possibly
Yeah.
feel that you can help other people? How do you feel empowered when you come home to
Nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
exactly.
what I've seen during the like typhoons, and I know for a fact that we can have a future where we are more resilient, and getting to highlight that was a good feeling. And credits, by the way, to my Q&A trainers, Pipo Gonzalez and Kelly Nehoff, because I would not be able to answer as well as people thought that I did if it weren't for them. They're very patient, and sometimes when I do the Q&A trainings, I get all over the place. And
Sure. Yeah.
so they really helped bring the ideas together and let it go the way it did.
Awesome. So in your answer, yeah, you mentioned Habitat for Humanity and the children who clearly wanted to help out.
Yes.
Like, could you tell us more about your experiences with the kids?
Oh gosh, yeah, I love the experience. I actually love being around kids, to be honest. Like, it's nice seeing the light in their eyes when they see us working. So when you volunteer with Habitat, you get the chance to do hands-on experiences. Like, you're on site, you help paint the houses, you help mix the cement, carry it back and forth, even like planting. That's
Yeah.
part of it too. And in one of my experiences in Laguna, I saw the kids so eagerly like watching, and they even tried to like grab a paintbrush and like start to join us, but we were like, no, it's not allowed, it's not allowed.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
allowed to
They're
join
too
us
young, yeah.
because that's child labor. That's gonna be a big problem
Yeah,
for
yeah.
us. So I told them, like, when we come back here, let's bring some body paint.
Yeah, something fun to
Yeah,
do.
something fun to do, because they even wanted to play games with me and all that jazz. But just them watching, you could see that they wanted to join in,
Yeah.
right? And
Like, it was clearly important to them. Like, they saw that
because this is
they
for
wanted
their
to help.
This is
yeah.
for their homes,
Yeah.
right? Because it's easy for someone to tell you what to do
Sure.
versus you seeing how much of an impact it would make if you joined in.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the next time we visited, I actually bought little body paint for them. So I painted on their arms.
that's
So
awesome.
it's okay, you guys can't paint houses, but we
can
can
paint
still be
yourselves.
creative. You can paint yourselves.
Oh,
Like,
that's cool.
I just know that we always say that the youth is the future, and like there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it, but we just have to ensure that the youth is being exposed to these things,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't grow up seeing houses being painted. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think that, like, it always felt so far away.
Sure.
Right? Like,
yeah.
it felt like, oh, it'll never happen to me.
Yeah.
That, like, when I heard about when Yolanda happened, like, I was like, I don't, like, that sounds bad, but I think that we're, like, it'll never be that bad, right? And
Yeah.
then when I experience it for myself, it's like, wow, there's so much we haven't prepared for, and the casualties are just not, it's not worth it, because we know it's something that we can prevent,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
So the kids, God, they're really the future.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that you got
Yeah.
that experience.
Yeah, we're
with
gonna get to
them.
do some youth involvement programs.
Okay.
So I'm really excited for that.
Perfect. Also for Habitat?
It's
or-
with them, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I give credit completely to them.
To the
I'm just a volunteer.
All right. So you're not an amateur in the pageant scene. That's no secret.
Thank you.
You've done a ton of different regional and national pageants before Miss International. So what is it about competing in pageants that has got you so hooked?
you know, when you say I'm not an amateur, I wouldn't even consider myself a professional either, because it all started when I had the push from like my mom, push from the people around me, because I was really shy growing up. I was just this.
Really? Doesn't seem
Yeah,
like it.
That's why I encourage people to do these things, because if I could come from this person who was too shy to talk to anyone,
Yeah.
like in her own little world, and evolve into the person I am now, getting to have this interview with you, getting to have people listen to what I have to say, it's such an empowering journey to see like how far I've come. And it started off with myself. Like, I'm not happy with who I am. I want to be someone like a beauty queen, like somebody who can command a room, somebody
Right.
who could make a difference.
Yeah.
As cheesy as it can sound. And it starts with yourself. It starts with getting out of the comfort zone. It starts with saying hello to somebody you didn't say hello to before.
Right.
And
Was there like
that
a
eventually
moment,
evolved.
like an aha moment in your life, like a turning point,
A
or did it
turning
just come
point.
like organically?
I was 11.
Okay.
I was 11 years old.
What
This was
happened?
before the pageants. It was before. I was really lonely. Yeah.
Okay.
I remembered feeling like no one really understood no one completely understood me, and I felt like I was just too afraid of the world. I was too scared to mess up, to say the wrong things. And I stuttered like crazy. Even with interviews now, I still stumble on my words, but it's progress.
Yeah, of course.
And it's understanding that just because you don't have to be perfect to make progress. And it's like life is too short to be too hard on yourself on these things. And I remember as young as 11, I was like, I don't want to be this person. I'm tired of being this way. And
Okay.
we're in this age where all the resources are just online.
Yeah.
Right? You can just do a Google search. How do I become more sociable? How do I get myself out there? What do I do when I'm scared? What are good coping mechanisms? Like, you have to take the initiative upon yourself to be that kind of person,
Right.
because life is just going to pass you by. It's such a
Yeah.
shame if you're not going to be the best version of yourself. And it wasn't easy at first. I remember I tried to be more talkative, and I had people go up to me and say like, "What's up with you? You're a little."
It didn't look
like,
natural.
Yeah, because that's how it starts, right?
Yeah.
You're doing things that don't feel as natural. When you're training for a pageant, you're doing things that don't feel natural.
Sure. Yeah.
When you walk on that stage, it's not the same walk that you do on a daily basis.
Right, of
You actually
course.
need training for
Of
that.
course.
You're moving, and it's so unnatural to you, but you keep doing it until it feels natural. Like
Right.
when you form a habit,
Yeah, of
right? It
course.
usually takes maybe a month or two, and what's that saying? Like 10,000 hours. I don't know if
Something like
that's
that.
true.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be
Instant. for
no,
one,
not at
yeah.
all. Like, people think like, oh, they're just born that way. Oh, it's so natural, so gifted. No, this this Nicole was built on experience, built on my own initiative to become a better person. And I hope that my journey is inspiring to other people. But back to what I was saying, it started off with myself. I wanted to boost my own confidence. I wanted to put myself in a situation that I can't run away from, because I've ran away too many times. I've let so many opportunities pass me by in the
Right.
past that with a pageant, you can't run away. You have all these people who are helping you.
Yeah.
You have people who are doing your hair and makeup. You have people styling you. You can't just abandon that.
Yeah, they're relying on you to
Exactly.
win.
It's
yeah.
it's a team effort, in spite of me being the only person on that stage,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then it developed to, hey, I can reflect on myself here. Because at first it was just about the superficial. It was about like just being able to stand there, like baby steps. And then I started to think like, oh, the comparison was kicking in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, like, oh, this woman's so beautiful. Like, am I even beautiful? Do I even deserve this? Or I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. Blah blah. And then it took other queens, like my fellow candidates, to teach me, like, hey, you're beautiful in your own way.
Oh, that's great.
And just because you didn't win, it doesn't mean that you weren't deserving. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that it wasn't your time.
Sure.
And that's completely fine. It means that there's still room for growth. And at the end of the day, a pageant is for an organization that is looking for a particular look sometimes.
Of course, yeah.
right? And
yeah.
just because you don't suit that look, it doesn't mean that
That something's
weren't-
wrong with you.
Yeah,
or-
it's not like it's not you.
Yeah.
It's you're destined for something else.
Sure.
I always think like I truly believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So if it's not destined for you, then maybe something greater is planned for you.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen to me. Like looking back, I'm like, oh, if I had done this, then I wouldn't be able to get this.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
Right? Oh, and it's hard to see things in the moment, but over time you start to look back and like, wow, thank God this happened. Thank God that happened. So it's just slowly developed from pageantry was for me to get out of my shell, and then it became for the people around me, and now it's about the country. Like,
Yeah,
it
that's
just
amazing.
gets bigger and
Big
bigger
and
because you're like,
bigger.
wow, the people I can reach, the people who listen, the way organizations come out and help you too,
Yeah.
and the opportunities that pageants present. Like, given that the Philippines is a powerhouse and we truly cherish the beauty queens that we produce,
Yeah, we do, yeah.
the opportunities you get after joining a pageant,
It's a lot, yeah.
It's a lot, yeah. Like, there's so much of a say, like from beauty queens. Like, people really listen to us, and it's like we have to ensure that it's something worth listening to. So,
Yeah.
not just with words, but hopefully with more action.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the year.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be like a crazy 2024 for you, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
2023 was crazy
Yeah.
too. 2022 was crazy because I was crowned a year ago, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, of course.
very
Yeah.
long reign.
Yeah. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of,
Go.
pageantry. So what's your favorite beauty pageant like segment?
Segment.
Yeah. The swimsuit, evening gown, Q&A, talent, and why?
Swimsuit, evening gown. I mean, everyone's a sucker for the Q&A, right?
Yeah.
That's where everyone's like, this is the moment.
Yeah.
it's the times for the underdog to shine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The Q&A it changes the game. Like the moment you think that it's for this girl, you're like, oh wait, this girl also did well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Q&A is one of them for sure, because then you get to see the way they form an opinion,
Yeah.
the way that they deliver their answer, what they stand for.
Yeah.
Like, it's the substance. It's the substance to the pageant. But I'd say second to it is, come on, evening gown.
Evening gown,
Who
yeah.
doesn't love a good evening gown? Oh my God! At this point, I'm just gonna say every single segment. I love the national costume.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Love the
You
national
had great
costume,
ones, yeah.
Those are like the only 3 segments in our pageant this year, because we removed the swimsuit for Miss International. I love the national costume because you get to look at it between countries and think, hey, why do these colors represent this country? Why does this style remind you of this? Like, for my year, my national costume was designed by Axel Ke.
Yeah.
And it took inspiration from
The
sea
Peria.
urchin.
The sea urchin.
Oh, the Peria was actually back in
The
Beanie
previous
Beanie.
one.
Oh, I'm so glad you remember that one.
yeah,
That was
I love-
over.
Because
That's
I
over
love
a year
that
ago.
one. Yeah,
Really?
I love that one. Yeah, and I also love the sea urchin one. It was like when you first came out on screen, we were all like just putting our noses on the screen because the details were so amazing.
Well, the Peria back in Beanie Beanie, I loved it because it's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
Because you think about, every time of the year, people set up the Perias in different parts of the countries, but in Cebu specifically, it's really big. Like, and the colors were also reminiscent of like Santo Niño, Sinula,
Yeah,
the festivals, and I love how that still kind of remained when we did the national costume for this
year.
year.
Yeah,
like, it
it
still
did.
looked very festive.
Correct,
It still looked very
yeah.
vibrant, and I think that's something that the Philippines has. It's
Yeah.
always this party fiesta kind of feel there.
Yeah.
Like, we're big on festivals, and I really love that.
And the materials used for the gown were so
I've
interesting.
never, it was beyond my wildest dreams, like seeing that national costume. And the concept shoot was really fun. We even had these little, if you look at the magazine,
Yeah.
you could see that I had this wild makeup look, and it's bold, and
Yeah.
it's almost unapologetic, right? It's a little feisty, and I really liked bringing that to the table of Miss International because they're known to be more
Subdued. Yeah.
conservative and sweet, and I just wanted that raw moment. And when you're there standing backstage and you see all the other girls, you're like, whoa, everyone is so unique. Everyone's from different cultures, different countries, and yet we're all together for this pageant. And we find the similarities and we celebrate the diversity. It's such a beautiful thing. And with the national costumes, you get to see that. I think what I wish would have been added was for them to announce like what it represents.
Right. Yeah.
Because some could take it traditionally and be like, oh, this is what we wore, like this is what our ancestors
National costume.
wore. Like, let's say during Hannah's year, she wore a Filipiniana.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, you immediately think, Philippines, because that's what it's traditionally known for, right? Like the colonized Filipinos, the Spanish. You know, it's
the butterfly sleeves and all.
It's a given that when you look at it, you think Philippines, but in our case, we wanted it to be a little more interpretive, like people to have fun with it.
Yeah.
But it does feel a little confusing, I think, when there's not any explanation involved.
That's true.
Because when you look at it, you don't immediately think, sea urchins, right?
True.
Like it's a little out there.
It's more conceptual.
Exactly. Exactly.
So notes for Miss International.
So I think I take it back. My favorite is the national costume.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's not the Q&A like the usual, it's definitely the national costume. And it's fun because some girls, God, some of them, I went out there dancing, having my fun because it's a festive national costume. Other girls come out like full
fierce,
on, like character mode. They're like,
super,
They really get in there, and
so you get to act too.
So
it's an acting challenge.
It's beautiful, and it ranges from all sorts of styles, right?
Awesome. So you're also into visual arts. You dabble in illustrations, photography. I've seen your illustrations. They're so nice. Tell us more about how you got into visual arts.
I mentioned before I was a shy kid. Could never convey my feelings from talking about it. Words were not my best my best outlet. So instead I would draw a lot. I would sketch little doodles, even in the middle of class. I was the type to like always, whatever it was, and I would also show my love that way. So for my family, I remember I used to draw like our family. Like I would draw my dad, my mom.
Oh, that's cute.
And I would like slide it under the door.
Oh, that's so cute.
Because I didn't want to just be like, hey, look what I made you.
Yeah.
It's like very silent, like, here, this is for you.
Oh, that's nice.
That's how it was. And that slowly developed into like my everyday life. Like when I look around, you take inspiration here and there. You can appreciate it when you go into museums. And it's great that throughout the years, people are appreciating art even more. Back then, people would tell me, especially family, they'd say like, oh, if you take an art course, you're not gonna have a future. You're gonna like, right? Like they want the traditional safe courses.
Corporate,
exactly. And that wasn't something that really resonated with me. So it's nice to see how creativity is being more valued now. And Filipinos are so creative, so talented. It feels like everybody can sing while we're like just a little off topic there, but yeah, it's crazy how talented we are, and I think we should nurture those creative sides to us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're also a proud Cebuana. If I were a first-timer to Cebu, I'm not, but just in case I was, what's the one place or activity I should definitely not miss when I go there?
I say this every time. I'm a sucker for canyoneering.
Canyoneering.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
I did not expect that answer.
For Cebu, huh? Like Cebu's known for food, Cebu's known...
Exactly.
But I love the idea of canyoneering, and you can do it in Alegria. That's where I go.
For those unfamiliar with canyoneering, what exactly is it?
I was just about to get into that. So the concept of canyoneering is you're brought up to this mountain and you basically jump from waterfall to waterfall.
Oh,
how
my
wild
God,
is that,
yeah.
right? It's a crazy fun adventure. And by the end of it, you're in Kawasan Falls, right? Like, and I love nature. I love being around it, and this is just that adrenaline boost that you get from jumping from one to the other. I've tried doing 30 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, if you just fall the wrong way, you get like it's gonna hurt
God.
so bad.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's like
The adrenaline rush.
you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
Awesome. So, guys, canyoneering in Cebu. That was not the
Well,
answer
what were you
expected.
expecting? I'm curious.
I don't know, something about food, yeah. Or something about, I guess, the beaches. Something like that.
Oh yeah, our beaches are so pristine.
Definitely. Yeah. So, what is next for you? You've had a crazy year, as you've said, and I'm sure that 2024 is going to bring a lot more to your table. So, are there any like plans that you know you can talk about?
Well, I'd say nothing is set in stone. I just got back from a long,
Yeah.
long journey.
Yep.
A long chapter of my life.
Extended journey.
Exactly. And to see that it's gonna come to a close is a little hard for me.
I'm sure.
But it also just means that when one door closes, another opens, and I'm excited for all that's opening up for me. For sure, this year is going to be more about myself, more focus on me and less, because when you represent the country in the pageant, you're bringing everyone with you.
Yeah,
That's a lot, and I'm so grateful I got that chance to represent the country. It's a completely different feeling, versus now where I actually have time to think about myself, to
that's good.
reflect on how the year went down and which areas I could focus on some more.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say just one thing, right? Like there's multiple avenues. There's the social impact, for sure, more work with Habitat. Before I left, we already discussed that we were gonna have programs for the kids so that they could be more involved. So for sure, we're gonna go and meet on that. School, I took a break, and I'm hoping to get that degree. And third, I want to see how far this gets me. So maybe the modeling and the show business, we'll give that a try.
Oh, okay. Maybe in the future I'll be interviewing you for like a movie or something like that.
Sana.
Sige. Manifest. Okay, so anything else you'd like to tell our viewers? We're unfortunately down to this last question.
Oh, all the viewers, gosh. I'm really happy that as soon as I landed, I got welcomed by lots of media rounds, lots of people wanting to know how the experience was, and I even got to go to the Christmas tree lightings back in Araneta, so I actually got to see people in person. They're just like telling me like, "Oh, you did so well. We're so proud of you." Da, 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 da. And I want to thank you all for that. You know, like there were so many times that I felt doubtful in Japan, and yet I was only received with love.
Yeah.
And that's a really big deal, because in pageants it can be ruthless, right? It can be brutal, but not only did I feel loved by people who I didn't even know, it was also those around me. They always checked up on me. They always made sure that I was feeling my best, even when I didn't. Like they're like, nope, no time for doubt, no time for doubt. And they really are God's angels. So thank you for being my angels. Thank you for just believing in me, and I really appreciate it. I hope to make you proud in whatever endeavor I go on to next. So wish me luck on that.
Yay! And with that, thank you so much, Nicole, for being here on Rappler Talk.
Thank you, Marge.
That wraps up this episode of Rappler Talk Entertainment. If you have any questions or suggestions, hit us up on Rappler's socials. I'm Marguerite De Leon. Thanks for watching.